it's Jacqueline from Succulent 613, and today's video is all about my succulent secrets. Over the last few years, I have become obsessed with succulents, so much that my friends refer to me as the succulent queen. I have done a lot of trial and error, and I've found some great tricks that really work. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, use a heat mat underneath your succulent propagations. The heat encourages root growth and dries the soil faster to prevent rot. I have noticed that my baby succulents and leaf propagations have grown twice as fast with this method as well. Tip number 2, use distilled water when watering your indoor succulents. I noticed much healthier plants and leaf propagations when I watered with distilled bottled water rather than tap water. I have a suspicion that the chlorine or fluoride that's in the tap water just doesn't agree with my succulents. Tip number 3, making my own soil. Succulents need gritty, well-draining soil, so I make my own soil mix to ensure that it doesn't hold too much water. I use a combination of cactus soil, perlite, sphagnum moss, and aquarium gravel. In the past, I have also added coconut coir and reptile bark for extra aeration, but I don't know if that's made much of a difference. Tip number 4, acclimating your succulents outdoors. If you have recently bought a succulent from a nursery, it has likely been growing in a greenhouse for its entire life. This means that the plant is used to having filtered sun. When you bring your succulents home, they will need to get used to having direct sunlight if you're planning to put them outdoors. To do this, put them outdoors for 30 minutes and then bring them inside. Repeat this for a few days. Then, try leaving them outside for 1 hour and bring them back inside, and do that for a few days. Continue this routine for a few weeks, adding a little bit more time each week. This will prevent your succulents from sunburn and overall shock in general. Tip number 5, use deep pots. It's important to have a pot or planter with drainage holes, but having a deep pot can also make a huge difference with the health of your plants. Succulents tend to have shallow root systems, and having a deep pot means the water will run far away from the roots as it drains, which will prevent rot. Take a look at my raised planter. It has a false bottom which is about 2 feet deep. The water drains out and never lets the succulent roots sit in a puddle of water. The same goes for this plastic planter. It's about 2 feet tall, which means the water drains away from the roots. The succulents get a quick drink when it rains, but don't end up with rot. Tip number 6, let your plants heal. If you have a fresh succulent cutting, a newly plucked leaf, or a newly transplanted succulent, it's important to give them time to heal and adjust. I ignore my succulent cuttings and leaf propagations for 2 weeks before planting them in soil. I also don't water anything until it's settled in for about 2 weeks, and also only if it has developed a root system. Remember, succulents can bounce back from being ignored and becoming a little thirsty, but they won't survive being watered too early and rotting. My bonus tip might shock you. Did you know that you can water your succulents with aquarium water? If you have a freshwater aquarium, fish water is actually great for plants of all kinds. Think of the algae and the good bacteria that fish live in. These nutrients are an amazing fertilizer for your succulents and houseplants. Give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot and consider subscribing to my channel.